Mission complete, Captain. The enemy force has been decimated. The Alliance fleet is steadily gaining on the enemy. Send a message to the PACT flagship. You see, Fontana? Now why don't you stick your tail between your legs and scurry back to New Eden? You overestimate yourself, Captain. You have quite an interesting vessel. I believe it was instrumental in winning the Battle of Farport, was it not? Captain, we're detecting new warp signatures. An assault carrier, swift as a battlecruiser and supported by a squadron of riders like a carrier. Capable of both lightning strikes and long-range operations. Quite impressive considering it was made by a single neutral rim world. Now, imagine not a single prototype vessel, but an entire fleet of advanced warships built with the resources of all the worlds of the People's Alliance. Fontana, this is the end for you, Captain. It's a trap. The initial PACT fleet was merely a decoy, Captain. Regroup our forces. Engage the new ships. Okay, for this particular battle, I will be providing post-commentary. I killed the sound because I wasn't sure if I was going to need to use the Vanguard cannon depending on how things played out. If they line up a certain way, it actually can be pretty worthwhile to fire. If you notice, most of the enemy riders only have like 700 hit points. That's a pretty good one-shot. And speaking of one-shots, the support units are the ones to watch out for in this battle, those guys with the rings. So right there I had Akari run up and whack one, and I had Sola snipe the other one. Right there I used Chigara to shut down the one carrier so it could no longer release any more riders, because if it gets out enough support units, your shields are going to be permanently down, and then you will die to laser spam. So Chigara's main role here is not actually to heal, but to actually just keep the enemy spawning at a manageable rate. As for the Sunrider, due to the upgraded kinetics I wield, I have a pretty good job of just cleaning out at least one battleship a turn. So, if you followed along from the previous video, you'd notice that there was no reprieve. You do not get a chance to spend any of the money you racked up from the previous mission. You have to go headfirst into this one. Your stuff is resupplied and healed up, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just you don't get to use that 5,000 or whatever you managed to rake in. So right here I notice I can't really hurt them due to the shields, so I'm just using the assault spam to try to poke them down a little bit and maybe set up a kill off a kinetic later on. Basically, Kriska and the Sunrider are going to be the heroes this game, or this battle, because I need their kinetics to sink the enemy's ships. And right there was the first crash. And I will spoil it and tell you that the game crashed twice during this battle, so I can't really stress enough how important it is that you save, at least right now in the early builds, when it was just released. I did lose a battle earlier on where I had to start completely over just because it locked up and I had no way of getting past where it was actually locked up at. Luckily, I was only a couple turns in, but if you're near the end of a battle, it can be kind of devastating. Anyway, right here they're focusing the Sunrider, which is okay with me. It has the most hit points, so it's not a bad thing for it to be focused. Sadly, due to Chigara needing to focus on shutting things down, I won't be able to heal, but I have the hit points to spare. So right here it's the Phoenix's turn. I'm going to pop the stealth, run in there and melee it. But sadly I don't have her melee upgraded enough to where it's a one-hit kill. So as a result I'm going to fall back a space and assault, I think. Really, I think I should have done the assault at point blank for accuracy reasons, but it didn't come into play, so didn't get burned by it at the very least. As for the Sunrider, I need to start poking holes in their shield defense so that I can have a Saga switch over to lasering the mechs down. So right here I'm looking at the targets, the different rates. I'm trying to figure out the firing sequence. Who do I want Kriska to shoot? Who do I want the Sunrider to shoot? And I decided to go for the 1600 battleship, which I easily have the firepower to sink in one round. Especially with full forward in effect, you can see that those ships just melt. As for that one, it lived with 4 hit points, which I can try to pick up later. So I'm going to move Kriska onto another battleship, the wannabe Sunrider there. Having Sola snipe that one, you can see that I took down half its health already. If the support units were still alive, they actually do have a repair command just like Chigara does, which makes them all the more annoying. So I'm going to fire the laser on the guy that has single-digit hit points left, because even if he has the shield, it's going to do enough damage to sink him. It's not like I really have much else to use a Saga for right now, and by taking him down, that actually put a hole in their shield for me to pulse that one rider. So I have a little bit of extra energy. I figure, why not use the missile? I so rarely use those, I probably won't even notice it's missing. And since Kriska, oh yes, I still have to use the aim downs. So right here I'm looking to see who I already have cursed, so I can figure out where I need to go. I aim down the one carrier, or the one battleship. I go for that mech up in the front, and I chose one of the 2 at the top. I think I went for the healthier of the 2, since I figure the other one's probably going to die this turn. So right here they're spamming their lasers, but even if that did hit, I still have these shields up to mitigate everything. So you can see right there, 195 damage was blocked. That's more than half the damage the Phoenix should have taken. So new units have arrived, missile cruisers, more wannabe Sunriders. So I have to keep one of them locked down, which means it's now time for me to sink the next wannabe Sunrider. Going to have Kriska do the honors. And with that, we can try to keep their numbers manageable. But the problem is I now have all these battleships up in my face, so I need to start peeling those off. So right there I hit one for damn near half its health. Now I can move over to the Sunrider. Another one taken down to half, essentially. And the first one sunk. So I was looking at my options for the Phoenix. It's best for me to melee this one, I think. I get to take it down, and I still have enough energy to fall back to Chigara's shield. I move her further back so that I can mount a flak defense against the cruisers down bottom. Right there I locked up the one ship up top. And I'm checking the curses to figure out who do I need to renew the aim down debuff on. So obviously the guys in my face take priority because I don't want to eat a kinetic shot. And then I go for the one missile cruiser all the way at the bottom, since it could fire twice and that would be annoying. Now as for a Saga, I actually could sink those with my lasers if they were not shielded. Now, I don't actually know if they were shielded or not, because you'll notice that not all of those carriers actually have shields. So I may have been okay trying to shoot at those, but I instead opt to just aim for one of the riders. Which is fine, since I'm going to kill one of the guys who's up close and personal and actually a pretty imminent threat. The carriers that are all the way in the back, there is some range that allows me to try to dodge, and right here is the second crash. So I'm looking at my command options. I was wondering if I should try the All Guard or if I should just try to sit it out. The All Guard will cancel the full forward, so that's why I ultimately decided not to use it. And right there you can see the Paladin just got a nice chunk blown out of it. Wannabe Sunrider is sending some missiles up, but the flak defense and just Akari's evasion came through. And there the Blackjack's evasion came through. And incoming missile spam. It hit the Sunrider, and like I said before, the Sunrider can take it for now. I still can't really afford to stop to heal it, since I need to keep stuff shut down so I don't get overwhelmed here. And I didn't see if she took damage or dodged that, but it doesn't really matter. Basically, once you've taken care of all the riders, the only thing you can really use the Phoenix for is trying to pick stuff off with the assault cannon. As for Sola, I figured I can take this out immediately. That way there's one less unit I have to worry about. Because I'm probably not going to be able to sink the wannabe Sunrider this turn. Instead, I need to just keep the numbers under control. Once again, I renew the disable on that one so that I can pick it off at a later time when it's convenient for me. And right here, they are in range, so they're going to be eating some of Kriska's kinetics. Next battle, ship down. And right here I noticed the Sunrider can actually shoot at the other one. It has a somewhat decent chance, you could say. And decent is up for debate because you've seen me miss pretty solid shots, and hit some that are pretty ridiculous in terms of accuracy, so anything really goes. But now without the force field or the laser shields, I figure I can pick off that missile boat. You can see that Asag can take off three-quarters of its health with one laser, and if I use both lasers, then I can sink it. As for that rider, right here I'm trying to calculate the energy. If it's going to cost me 30 to move, 20 to stealth, I'll have 60 left over, and instead I opt to use the gravity gun. So right there I got the counterattack. And the key thing is, Akari has enough energy there to do the melee twice if needed, I believe. Yeah. But lo and behold, she actually did enough to kill it, so just gotta look for the curses and try to figure out who I need to use aim down on, and I opt for that one. So right here I'm doing a check to make sure I've used everyone's turns who I can use, and I opt for the missile, even though it's not really worth firing unless you're going to do them all in one turn or you use flak down in advance. You can see 164, not really enough to really write home about, but it does potentially set you up for the kill on the next turn. So it moves closer, it hits the Sunrider with some missiles, and the battle is winding down. All in all, the difficulty here is just keeping the numbers under control. If you can do that, it's a pretty simple and straightforward battle. If you can't, you are going to get overwhelmed. So I aim for the guy that's closest to me. Pretty good strategy, if I do say so myself. You can see that after 2 kinetics, it's alive with 100 hit points. Seriously. But I can pick off the other missile cruiser, and now there are 2 units remaining on the enemy's side. But like I said, once you kill all the riders, Akari is just good for trying to pick stuff off with her assaults. Now I figure if there's 1 unit left, why not just bum rush it? What's the worst that could happen, right? So I'm pretty sure some of you have already guessed the answer to that question, but you'll see it next turn. Right here, I didn't have the energy anyway, but I'm just gaining position and I'm going to pelt it a little bit, 20 damage, whoop-de-doo, and just try to set stuff up for the next turn, which I believed would end the battle. So much so that I'm even moving the Bianca. So one last check to make sure that everyone used all their energy. And lo and behold, there's a new ship. As you can imagine, I wasn't too happy about that, but I've realized I can kill this and then it's just extra money for me. Basically, I just need to sink the wannabe Sunrider this turn and then pick up where I left off with my other riders on the one survivor. I don't know if the enemies infinitely spawn like this, if you can farm them for money. If you saw the previous video when I tried to farm the carriers, it turns out that I don't think they actually gave you any money. But in order to secure the kill this turn, I needed to use full forward so that I could get the accuracy and power on my kinetics. Sadly, I already fired Soulless Shot, but it didn't really matter. Get to use Kriska right there, 542. Right there, we can take off another portion of its health, and it's all set up to die to the Sunrider. And of course, Sunrider misses. Awesome, right? So I disabled the healthy one, and right here's when I notice it's not shielded. So all of a sudden, a Saga becomes that much more valuable. So 1 pulse, 2 pulse, that one goes down, and once again we're back to the 1 enemy remaining state. There was the 3rd pulse, and now I just need to try to poke it down with my assault. Once again, it's chip damage, but it is weakening their armor, setting them up for an easier kill on the coming turn. It's not like you have anything else to do with the energy anyway. As for the Bianca, right here I'm looking to see if I can pull it closer to me with gravity, but it says it only works on riders, so move forward. One last sweep to make sure everyone used their energy, and we are now set up to wrap up this battle. Since I still have full forward in effect, I can just go ahead and shoot from a distance. I have the accuracy mod to allow me to do so. Sadly, Kriska alone wasn't enough, but anyone else can pick up the slack. So Sola takes out a piece, and I decide let's have the Sunrider do the honors. And that's how you win this battle. So you'll see the victory screen right here. You can see the money and CP I got, and I will be returning to live once I get to the actual text. Then I'm able to speak again. So 4,500, 5,000 CP, which is pretty good. And that's where I'm going to stop the postcom. We sank all the ships in our area, however the Alliance fleet is still facing substantial resistance from the enemy. Fontana, it's over. Your new toys are gone. Surrender or we'll scrap your entire fleet. No, it is our victory. What? Did you forget about me already, Captain? Warning, new pirate signatures. What? Where? From inside the Ongess habitat stations. All riders, it's go time. Enemy riders are flooding out from the orbital habitats. They must have been hiding inside them all this time. Fontana and the pirate fleets were just decoys. Now the combined fleet's as vulnerable as sitting ducks. Get the situation on screen. The Alliance fleet has merged here to counter the enemy fleets. Cosette and a battalion of bomber riders approach from the orbital habitats. Time until they intercept our docks, 4 minutes. Fall back, intercept Cosette and her bombers. We're entangled with Fontana's forces. There's no way we'll make it back in time. How disappointing, Captain. I expected more from the victor of Farport. In one fell swoop, every Alliance ship of the combined fleet will be cast into the hellfire, the very Ongess site they sought to steal from Ongess. Poetic justice, is it not? A fitting end to their imperialistic ambitions in the neutral rim. Just as the Imperials before them, they will fall not to our cannon fire, but to the fruits of their own greed. for their systematic exploitation of the weak is but a cancer which will eventually consume their body unless it is cleansed with fire. Now, Captain, behold PACT's true goal, the eradication of the Imperialists and the birth of our new galactic order. The Ongessite tanks are in range. This is for you, Captain. You were always my favorite. The enemy riders have begun their attack. The combined fleet is being sunk. Catastrophic losses are being reported. Your orders, Captain. Shields clenched his fists. Fontana! It is over, Captain. The Alliance fleet is lost. Your ship will be seized and the princess returned to Arcadius. As for you, you will stand trial for your crimes against humanity. Cosmos tells me you are responsible for quite a number of civilian deaths on Ongess. Not yet. So the Great Grey of the Emerald Fleet finally speaks. Have you come to discuss terms of surrender? You little punk. Don't think you're the first commander to dare raise sword against me, but you're still young. Sit down, boy, and let me show you war. Captain, I'm detecting radiation charges coming from the combined fleet. I've just ordered every Alliance ship to arm their nuclear torpedoes at Ongess. These are my terms. Tell your little pirate friend to turn around and scurry back to the rat hole she crawled out of. As for you, take your ships back to New Eden and shore up your defenses. You'll need them to escape the coming hellfire. Or else I'll drop enough nukes on Ongess to make it glow brighter than the sun for the next millennia. You cannot be serious, Admiral. A man of the Alliance would not mass murder 40 billion civilians. Try me, boy. He's bluffing. We can wipe out the entire Alliance fleet here and now. You have to the count of 3 to withdraw your forces. 1. Don't listen to him. He's too much of a coward to fire. Fontana! All their ships are gathered here. We'll never get another chance like this. We can end the Alliance's military supremacy in just 15 more seconds. This will be the end of the Alliance and the beginning of a new era. 2. We'll all die if it means the end of the Alliance, independence or death. Just give us 10 more seconds. We can do this. Admiral, stop this madness. All units hold fire and warp to the fallback coordinates. Cosmos, withdraw your forces. You idiot! A victory at the cost of Ongess is no victory at all, but a catastrophic defeat. We have hurt the combined fleet enough. We will reserve our forces for another opportunity. Another opportunity like this won't ever come. Enough, Cosmos. If you care for the plight of your people at all, then you will order your ships to retreat. Fuck you, Fontana. As for you, Captain, once I get my hands on you and your crew, I'll tie up all your little lovers, and I'll have you watch as I slowly remove one body part after another from them, and then I'll feed them to you, until you crave nothing but the meat of your comrades. And once you're finally a broken shell of your former self, I'll keep you around as a slave, and you'll do nothing but adore me as your master. You'll regret ever fucking with me. All units break off and warp away to the fallback point. We've done enough for today. Well, she sure seemed to take defeat gracefully, don't you think? The enemy fleets are falling back. The plan worked. Stop all combat operations and prepare to assist with salvage and recovery. Shields fell into his chair. All enemies have warped out of the system. And our status? Substantial damage to our docks. We have uncontrollable Ongessite leaks at nearly 40% of the tanks. Altogether, we've lost nearly 120 battle cruisers during the attack. It's nearly 30% of our entire fleet. This attack was grave, but we avoided the worst of it. I will regroup our forces. More reinforcements are due from our core world soon. Fear not, Captain. With this crisis averted, we will be able to push further into PACT-occupied territory as planned. I believe Sarah is not that far away now, is it? No. Well then, we best get to work. News of the incident at Ongess has hit the HoloNet. What's the response? Virtually every Progress Party affiliated news source is calling it a massacre. While each news source varies greatly in the details, 300 to 1,500 civilian deaths are commonly being reported. In the latest opinion poll published by All Alliance News, Admiral Gray lost 4 points in his standings. He now controls 41% of the vote against 44% for Progress candidate Frandal. Meanwhile, the Progress Party has started a new bill in the Solar Congress calling for the withdrawal of all Alliance ships from Ongess. While it is not expected to pass while Alith, is a lame duck president, party leaders have vowed to mount legal challenges in the Solar Court if Gray is elected to the presidency. Are you feeling alright, Captain? You suppose Cosette's right? Captain, Cosette is a madwoman and a criminal. I saw a man nearly glass an entire planet today. We can call ourselves the heroes all we want. We can argue we didn't start this war and that PACT was the aggressor. But after today, we're hardly any better than Arcadius. Captain, threatening to use force and the use of force are two very different things. A threat coupled with the ability to carry the threat out is merely a diplomatic tool. Every civilized government in the galaxy recognizes such threats as an acceptable use of diplomacy to achieve policy without bloodshed. Only the use of force is regulated by galactic law. Words are not. A very fine distinction, Ava, but history shows humanity will never appreciate the line between the two, or else the Holy Ruvian Empire would never have destroyed itself and cast the galaxy into a dark age. Neither us or the Alliance asked for this war. It was thrust upon us. What else will we be forced to do, and where will we cut the line? This is war. It's either them or us. That will be all, Commander. Captain? Shield sat with Chigara in his quarters for another round of tea. Did I let the crew down, Chigara? What do you mean, Captain? He outmaneuvered me. This Fontana, he is a foe deadlier than anyone we've encountered so far. He predicted every one of my moves, even before the battle began. We got lucky this time, but what will happen next time? Next time you'll be ready. He had the benefit of surprise this time. He won't ever be able to do that again now. Shields fingered his teacup. Why does war turn good people into monsters? Fontana, he's a good man, and Gray is no murderer either. And yet, when the lives of those around us are in danger, we must make decisions which we ordinarily would never make. Decisions to murder billions of lives, decisions to ignore atrocities, decisions to condemn innocents to death. That's what separates leaders from followers, Captain. Whatever you decide, I know it will be for the greater good. You will always be my hero, Captain. I'm sorry to disappoint. You never disappoint. Chigara stroked Shield's arm. No matter what happens, I'll always be here for you. Thanks, Chigara. Shields embraced Chigara and held her close. This will be over soon. Once Sarah is free once more, we'll put our weapons down. Then maybe we'll finally be able to start that bakery of yours. You're making me blush, Captain. Kato, you killed me. You killed all of us. Shields jolted awake. Murray. He stumbled out of bed and splashed himself with water. I didn't kill her. Shields uncapped a bottle of vodka and poured himself a shot. We are the greatest force of freedom in the history of the galaxy. Sit down, boy, and let me show you war. You will stand trial for your crimes against humanity. Your orders, Captain. Your orders. Your orders, sir? Captain, what do we do? I don't know. Shields gripped his glass. I don't know. Good morning. Give me the situation. We're holding position just outside of Ongess, investigating leads as to Cosette's current whereabouts. Further, we received a new mission. Alright. The mining union has been encountering difficulties shipping parts and equipment to the Alliance due to PACT interdiction forces. They request that we escort one of their transport ships out of Tidaria until it is in warp space. That is all, Captain. Thanks for the report. Carry on, Ava. Okay, so we have a lot of talking to do. I will be tackling that in the next part. But now I need to go back and do the post-commentary for the battle since I couldn't talk while I was recording. Anyway, you see the key to it, I hope, and hopefully it won't give you too much trouble when you tackle it. Anyway, I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.